Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Hello, everyone. This is Naomi Tucker. Excited to be with you today. I hope you're doing well and you're starting your week off with intention this Monday. It's been a great weekend and I'm looking forward to the week, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you're setting yourself up for success and doing all the things that you need to do in order to plan on purpose. Today, I wanted to talk to you about secrets to unleash your creativity. Now, as event planners, we are highly creative. We have to think of new concepts and ideas all the time, and we're innate problem solvers. We usually have a solution for every problem, and we are always equipped with some sort of plan, A, B, C, D, and sometimes Z. However, we often miss a piece of the puzzle that can take us from good to great, and I want to just share some tips for you to be able to unleash your creativity so you can be absolutely brilliant in all that you do. Now, some inspiration for this episode is via a book that I am reading called Accidental Creative by Todd Henry. And it's a really great book. I just started it, so I can't really tell you if it will be good all the way, but it's starting off just great, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So today I wanted to share some secrets on unleashing your creativity. A lot of these are inspired from the book, and a couple of them were directly from the book that I felt that were so powerful that I wanted to share them with you. I encourage you to go ahead and pick up this book. It's called The Accidental Creative, and put it on your list. They do have an audio book for this, and that is how I am currently consuming it, and it makes it go so much quicker for me. So if that is you, if you do not have time to read a book and you want to pick up an audiobook, definitely do that and listen to it. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to listen to the books versus read them. However, I must say, when I get a book and it's just awesome, I just cannot get enough of it. I'm just listening. I do tend to go back and buy the book when it's amazing, and I go back through it one more time and do some of my highlights and takeaways from there. I do believe that having a physical book is just the best thing. It's sort of like in-person events. It's just better to have it physically there, better to have that physical experience with the book. So anyway, I digress. I want to go ahead and move on to some of the tips here to unleashing your creativity. One thing that was definitely in the book that I wanted to present to you is the concept then that as creatives, we want to make sure that we have three things in order to be a highly functioning creative. And those three things are being prolific, being brilliant, and being healthy. And this really is a formula that says that you are producing your great work consistently and you're producing it in a sustainable way. And that means that you can have like a high quality of work and it is sustainable and it's happening over a long period of time. I thought that this was profound because when you break that formula down, and if you take away any one of those, it does not necessarily give you a recipe for success, especially in the way that you probably would want. In fact, there was a point that was made is that when you take away from this formula, you take away healthy. So for example, the formula is prolific plus brilliant plus healthy is you being your highly creative self. However, if you take healthy away, that, my friends, is a recipe or formula for burnout. So I just was all about that because I definitely talk a lot about burnout because our industry is so heavy with burnout. And it's not necessarily that it's, anybody's fault. I know sometimes employers can be like, oh, wow, they're talking about burnout. Maybe that's just pointing a finger at me. A lot of it is just how we are managing ourselves, how we're managing our time, managing ourselves. Of course, there is that partnership with an employer, or if you're an entrepreneur, with how you have the work coming in, that also contributes to this formula that we want to be careful about. But there is a lot that we can do on our side as an individual in order to manage that state of healthiness and manage that mental health and making sure that we are being healthy. So I really like the fact that healthy was a component here in this equation, and that if we do pull it out, and if you're trying to be prolific and just going after it and you are brilliant and you're coming up with all those ideas, well, although things might seem like they're going in the right direction, if you're not maintaining your body, you're not getting enough rest, you're not eating well, you're not have different outlets for yourself outside of work, you definitely can be on the road to burnout. So you're not necessarily producing at your highest and best self. So definitely want to make sure of that. I can't stress enough that it is very important for us to be maintaining a sense of healthiness about our days and about our work. So what I want you to do with this is that look at this formula, prolific plus brilliant plus health equals an amazing creative, right? First step is find out what's missing in our formula when it comes to that. Are you prolific, but not necessarily brilliant? Are you just prolific and healthy? Are you just healthy, but then not necessarily focusing on pushing and striving to be brilliant and to be prolific? Find out what's missing in our formula and write that down, become aware of that so that we can find out how we can inject those things into our lives to make us highly creative or a highly functioning creative. Okay? Now, doing one thing is not realistic and it's not sustainable, right? If we're just prolific, we can't just keep going and being prolific. It's not sustainable. And creatives that necessarily struggle with burnout, let's say the healthy is no longer there, it ends up being that you can find that the burnout is infiltrating their home, it's infiltrating their life, their personal relationships, and even personal projects. So we want to make sure that we're managing that. And when we're working hard, it's not to say that we're not working hard, because I know many people or even many organizations may feel like, oh my gosh, well, we need to put in the hard work. Event planning, we need to get after it. We are brilliant and we're all the things. I do believe that this industry takes and it demands this hard work. And I think hard work is a necessity if you want to do anything worthwhile. So I'm not saying that. But what we want to avoid is doing it in a way that is not healthy, right? And we also want to avoid, because I've seen this too in the event profession. I know most of us high achievers probably do not want to hear this, but you probably work next to a person that maybe appears to be busy and they're not necessarily doing the work. Maybe they're a little lost. We want to avoid that too, because that's not necessarily helping us in being our highest function creative self. So if you're working and you're just appearing to be busy, but you're not getting anything done at all, that's necessarily considered fake work. That's not being prolific, and you're not tapping into any brilliance, and that is dangerous. And it really is the same as no work at all, which essentially isn't helping anybody. Okay. So I will go ahead and move on. We have to focus on the structure of our day. And I talk about the structure of our day a lot, but it's so, so important. How do you set your day up for you to be your best creative self? And how can you structure your day where you're tapping into that focus that you have and tapping into your day where you are just highly focused and highly into getting things done? What part of the day is that for you? For me, At times, it's not necessarily very early in the morning. I need a few moments. I need the coffee or the chai and the things. But typically about 10 a.m., I am in there. So there are certain tasks, let's say, that work best for me from 8 a.m. until, 10-ish a.m., right? And there are certain things that work better for me right away at 10, where I can be like my best self. What is that for you? It's different for everybody. So make sure that you're harnessing your focus each day, finding out where is your best time spent during the day so that you are maximizing your days. Now, many times we just have too much going on at one time. We're checking our emails while we're on a meeting, and then we're getting IMs popping up here and there. Meanwhile, your client has a fire that they've also emailed you about that you need to take care of. That, to me, is a lot. It can be too much, but it does happen in our days. And so we have to make sure, how do we best operate our time, especially when things get that high touch during our days? That is what we need to focus on. So what we need to do is find out how we can take best advantage of our time, especially in the time frames of our day where we have so much coming at us. We need to find out how can we best leverage this time frame accordingly. Okay. So next we want to talk about, many times we have so much going on in the event planning world that it's really hard for us to have time to come up with these amazing, powerful, impactful ideas because we don't have the time to come up with them. We have so much going on that it's hard for us to just innovate, strategize, and do those things. So really explore your possibilities. We are problem solvers, and I'm pretty sure we have solved a lot of problems, but we can think bigger. Give yourself permission to think big. Give yourself permission to innovate. And many times we need to find the time frame and the structure in our day to be able to explore, right? And I think that that's also very important. So if you definitely are looking for a solution or looking for a creative idea to help design a client's strategic meetings management program, then perhaps you might want to take some time to just think it through. Have some brainstorming sessions. Those types of ideas don't just come easily. Maybe for some of us, they do, but we need the time to be able to explore the possibilities, put them through some really high level of critical thinking in order for us to be able to present the right option and the right value and the right offering back to our clients and back to our leaders and whoever that we need to get this idea off to. And lastly, my last tip for you to unleash your creativity is to really find out what are you putting into your head? We're only as good as what we are feeding ourselves, right? So make sure that you're always exposing yourself to exciting and brilliant ideas. And how do you do that? There's so many ideas out there for you to gain inspiration. You can go to industry events and network, collaborate with other people, hear what they're doing in their businesses. You can also go through some of those exhibits, let's say at places like IMAX, and really just see what's out there so that it can help spark some creativity so that you can apply it to your event. Things like MPI's WEC, there's so many other event shows out there that are a possibility for this, but try networking and going to shows to help. You also can start following these platforms like BizBash, Smart Meetings. There's so many other platforms out there, but as you're following these platforms, you're also able to get ideas sparked. Now, I would say what helps me is following them in a way that you are best in consuming the information. Keep following these platforms in order to just inspire yourself, in order to think creatively, think big, and do amazing big things for your event. So I hope that these ideas helped. It is up to us to create an environment where we can thrive and be healthy and be brilliant. I just hope you found a little bit of something that you can do to stay on top of your creativity. Until next time, stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.